welcome to all of you to this unveiling event. Today is an important day for the IOP, and I think it is a historic moment. Today we are celebrating almost 3 decades of our scientific excellence in the personages of the 3 deans who were the stewards of it. So we'll be unveiling their portraits, which have been made to celebrate the success, and we will then of course be placing them in our portrait gallery.
My brief said I was to say something about the tradition of academic portraiture. It's a subject about which I know virtually nothing, but what I can tell you is this. The portraits possessed by the Institute constitute, I would reckon, something like 1/3 of the total number of portraits owned by the college as a whole. So insofar as King's College London has a stake in the tradition of academic portraiture, I can assure you that the Institute looms very large. But joking aside, it's been a great pleasure for me over the last 7 years to be associated certainly with the Institute, but in particular with these 3 former deans.
Ever since Professor Edward Mapother in 1946, we've always made portraits of our medical superintendents and deans. We just fell a bit behind the times for the last 2 deans, and we're just catching up now and getting those portraits done. Now the truth is you could actually catch it in a photograph. Why do you really need a portrait? And I think as you will see these unveiled, you will see that while a photograph can perhaps catch the likeness of a person, these portraits capture the essence of the person.
Mental health is the most distinguished portfolio in King's Health Partners. It's something of which we're all immensely proud. And I go on to say that that's really the legacy of the 3 deans whose portraits we're shortly going to see.
Robin Murray was born in Glasgow, January 1944, the only child of his schoolteacher parents. In 1966, he undertook a student elective, eventually arriving in Haight-Ashbury at the beginning of Flower Power. He strenuously denies that his interest in cannabis began there.
So even though the IOP in some form has been around for the last 100 years, you might say, the last 30 have been particularly exponential. We've grown almost 10 times. The science of genetics, the science of imaging, the science of genomics, the use of computers to help medical science, all of this is new to the IOP, and all in many ways the work of the decisions that the deans had made for the last 30 years.
As we've heard, he's one of the elite handful of psychiatrists to be elected a Fellow of the Royal Society, and in 2011 was given a knighthood for his services to medicine. There's no one held in such esteem, and what's more, truly heartfelt affection as Robin Murray. Thank you.
It's a great honour to have one's portrait painted, but it's been an even greater privilege to be here at the Institute of Psychiatry for almost 4 decades. I'd like to thank June Mendoza very much. I was especially pleased that she agreed to paint me in the canteen. The fact that the picture is in the canteen gives me the opportunity to thank the staff of the cafe diner, many of whom are here in the centre here. It's delightful that you could come. You can see, I think, the picture.
It is an absolute joy to be asked to do this few words for George. He was about the most unflappable psychiatrist I'd ever met. The person you turned to when the going really was tough.
My task really was just to get some consensus about where we were heading, to signpost the direction pretty clearly so people knew where we were heading, to try and keep the paths clear of obstacles as far as possible.
I think many students have this erroneous impression that dean is the person who goes about telling the professors what to do. Let me tell you, no one easily tells the professors what to do. Similarly, the professors think, well, dean's the person who's got all the money and the power, and I can tell you it ain't so either. I think the main role of a dean is to build a community of scholars.
Alfred Hitchcock coined the word MacGuffin that filmmakers use to talk about a device that advances the plot of a film. Peter McGuffin is our MacGuffin at the Institute. I think he made three major contributions. His first was to foster and facilitate the Biomedical Research Center, which had just begun. And as you've heard, last month was renewed for another 5 years for £50 million. There was another achievement that was nearly as difficult and every bit as much appreciated. Peter was finally able, after many years, to get a new central heating boiler.
The Institute of Psychiatry is one of the world's leading organizations in what it does. So my first hope is that whatever I do adds to that.
Unlike George, who was a very distinguished medical student, I frittered much of my medical student career away in my spare time as part of a folk rock band. It just struck me again, it was good to be a member of a band again, the Three Deans. What a great name. If I was a safe pair of hands, I think the Institute is now in an even safer pair of hands with Shitij. And I'm very grateful to him and to Richard for dreaming up this whole ceremony with the Three Deans.
This is a time of a lot of exciting developments in science. Our challenge isn't that we can't find the right science to do. The challenge for us is that there are so many right things to do that we have to make choices with finite resources. And the last part of what will keep us thriving is betting on the right people. And by that I mean the young faculty that we are recruiting now, who will be the professors and deans over the next 30 to 40 years. So I hope when people will look back, they'll say they got really bright people to the IOP at that time. I realize these are large shoes to step into, and I hope in the years to come you will judge that, as George or someone said, we didn't let you down. There are some beautiful portraits in front of you. Thank you very much.